Thank you all very much for taking the time to be here. I'm grateful, in fact, surprised by the number of people that actually showed up. But grateful nonetheless that you took the time to be here to watch a number of your friends and family members get sworn in to some various boards and bodies. This officially will constitute, I believe, my last public swearing in as mayor. There may be one or two people that I will be swearing in quietly in the mayor's office, but we're running out of commissions and we're running out of commissioners and boards, and so I am grateful that you took the time to be here for this. I thank Supervisor Bevan Dufty, Supervisor Sean Ellsburn, for also taking the time to be here. How about a giant round of applause for our supervisor? Unbelievable. I want to thank a number of department heads that are here. I see Ed Reeskin, who is here. I see Mohammed Nuru, who might as well be a department head, operations guru chief, Nadia Sasay, our genius bond counsel, and Steve Cava, my chief of staff, and Tony Winokur, our press secretary, and other commissioners that are here. I want to thank Matthew Godot for all his hard work getting the commissioners to give up their resumes and in some circumstances give up their tax returns so we can find out more about you, not literally. I am grateful to be swearing in a dozen or so of you, the Arts Commission, the Asian Art Museum Commission. I will have some editorial comments in a moment. The Finance Corporation, the Golden Gate Bridge District, Golden Gate Park Concourse Authority, Graffiti Advisory Board, and there is a story attached to that, Housing Authority Commission, Small Business Commission, and the Southeast Community Facilities Commission. Just briefly, I see PJ Johnson is the president of the Arts Commission who's here, and I'm pleased that Kimberly Stryker is more publicly going to be sworn in, and of course my old friend Dorka Keene, who's going to move over from the Department on the Status of Women and has long had an artistic bent and passion and history and background, and it seemed appropriate that we took this opportunity to appoint Dorka to the Arts Commission. I happen to think that our public arts scene in this city has improved dramatically over the last number of years. I was very pleased to see something in the Chronicle today in the date book section highlighting one of those public art pieces out on the Embarcadero, but I'm very, very proud of the work that's been done over there and the stewardship of Luis Cancel, and I certainly hope and expect that we'll be doing all those wonderful things we've done in the neighborhoods, but also never forget that quality of imagination that we strike when we allow public the right and opportunity to access art in a meaningful way that challenges, ignites, and excites them. And that's why having these big, bold pieces of public art, I think, is so important to our city and provides a frame where at least symbolically, not just substantively, people can appreciate the great history of the arts in our city. The Asian Art Museum, Edwin and Victoria both being reappointed. I joked about that. We got work to do over there. Great things are happening at the Asian Art Museum. It is truly, when we say world class, it tends to be a wildly overstated phrase, world class. But you talk about collections. There's simply not a collection in the Western world as broad and deep as the Asian Art Museum collection. It is truly an extraordinary collection. The challenge is, it's in a beautiful building, but here at Civic Center. It's my own personal opinion. And as great as that building is, and as beautiful as the Civic Center is, it sometimes gets lost to those other cultural icons throughout the city that are in areas that are more accessible to people. At least they believe them to be more accessible. So the challenge, I think, for the Asian Art Museum is to build its foundation and to provide some new, and I see Jay, who's here, the director, to take the opportunity to take more risks in terms of how we rediscover the museum and get people to appreciate the extraordinary work that has been over there and its leadership. And so I'm excited, Ed and Victoria, about what you've done. That's why you're being appointed back. And we'll hope to have some announcements very soon about the Asian Art Museum and its fate and future. A lot of work being done behind the scenes, Jay, as you know. Finance Corporation. This is interesting. You know, Ken Cleveland and Arnie Lobb are here, and I'm very pleased they're both going to take the mantle to serve on this corporation. You know, this is a big deal. President David Chu, big round of applause. Thank you, Mr. President, for being here. The Finance Corporation was conceived as sort of a watchdog group of folks that can make sure, and that's why Nadia has to say, you wonder why these people are here. There's a connection. To make sure that we're being good fiduciaries to the work that is being done in this city that has been sponsored by the people and their support of our municipal bonds. And there's been questions in the past, distant past, that we've not always been doing what we could be doing, and that's why this was conceived. So it doesn't get as much attention as it deserves, but it's incredibly important, and that's why I called Ken and Arnold up and asked them if they'd be willing to serve on this body, because it's an important body. And so I'm very grateful. And I've known Arnold for many, many years, and I have admired and appreciated his commitment to this city. Arnie Lobb knows more about Mayor Brown and Jordan and Agnos and Feinstein than I ever will, as he's been a friend and served in different capacities, formally and informally, for these previous mayors. So I'm very grateful in this formal role. Arnold, you'll be serving. And of course, Ken, Cleveland, Boma, they're always saying we need to be bigger fiduciaries. So I figured, why not take that watchdog group and put the watchdog in a position where he can actually demonstrate that commitment. And I'm grateful, and I know all the members of the board that are here are grateful for the work that you do, Ken, and appreciative of your willingness to serve. John Moylan. John, how many years have you been on this Golden Gate Bridge Board? Exactly, a long time. He won't say it, but trust me, he's... All right, 87. Yeah, he was laid off a few times, but he keeps coming back. I guess that's the real story. But John has, I told John his only job, I'm going to leverage you publicly, John. I said, if I'm going to reappoint you, I want one thing. And Sean, you're on this board too. I want to walk up the cable of the Golden Gate Bridge. And I conditioned this entire appointment on that. And so I expect that publicly there's going to be some announcement that you're allowing me to walk cable. They said, no, you can take the elevator to the top. I said, I'm not interested in that. You know, labor unions, they always want you to walk in their footsteps, you know, spend a day with us. So I said, I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to walk up with the men and women that walk the cable. They still are balking at this. But John, this is very public play. This is taped, recorded as well. So we'll get you a copy of the DVD. I still want to do that. There's two more directors. I know. Don't you pass that off. And I'm very pleased as well. Stephen Ravetri is an old friend of mine. I mean, not very old friend. We got to know each other just a few years ago. But Stephen works with the Giants and has been very involved in a lot of their community work and been doing other things before that. And is just a passionate enthusiast of our recreation park system and Golden Gate Park, et cetera. And it just was one of those things we said, my gosh, what about Stephen to serve on the Golden Gate Park Concourse Authority? And he kindly, after learning more about what its obligations were, said yes. And I'm very, very pleased, Stephen, you're willing to do this. So thank you, and you're going to be outstanding. Paula, I told you, Paula, we're going to talk about this. Chuck Nevius wrote a column in the Chronicle, which I thought was interesting, about someone, and I won't get in all the particulars. You can read the column if you're ever so interested, who went out there, and I won't, I don't want to belittle, but the column said something like, was it Manola? What do you call those shoes, those fancy shoes? Manola Blancs or something. I purposely don't remember that so I don't have to at home. So I know exactly what those things are called. Anyway, some fancy shoes and some fancy outfits. And she was out there, Paula, just cleaning up graffiti. And she sort of made an art of this because she does some serious work in the real estate world, and some fancy work, and she drives a fancy car in these fancy outfits, and she gets out there with big cans of paint, and they're all in the backyard, or the back of her car, and she just stops everywhere, middle of the street, double parks, does whatever, and then jumps out there and will paint out your graffiti. And I thought, well, maybe there's something right about her, maybe there's something wrong, so I had to check. And I called Paula. I realized it's Paula. I'd known Paula over these years and didn't connect the dot, and so I know she's the real deal. And I said, well, again, it's kind of like Ken. If you're going to sit there telling us we could do a better job, how about this? And we found out we had this a position somehow that was vacant on the graffiti advisory board. So we said, how about that? She said yes, and then she went on to tell me more about how, anyway, she already was on the job the minute I called. And so I thank Chuck, but I thank you for your hard work for this appointment. Kind of a, I don't know, interesting, circuitous way onto this board. Good luck. But now you're part of the problem, so it's not just the folks at City Hall. All right. Housing Authority Commission, Dorothy Smith. This was interesting. We had a public process for this commission. We did that for Muni and found someone outstanding, and we thought we'd do the same thing. Now, there's always a public process, but we decided to deeper into public housing, and we had a very specific slot for a certain type of commissioner, and we interviewed a bunch of folks, Matthew and others, and we found the perfect person to serve on our housing authority. And you all know how exciting housing authority is, right, Henry, our director? Because they're going through a complete reinvention. We're tearing down the old public housing sites, replacing them. No one's displaced, one-to-one replacement, mixed income, mixed-use housing out there starting at Hunters Point, and then moving down to Sunnydale and Potrero and Westside Courts, and eventually Alice Griffith, old Double Rock site, completely reimagining public housing, because we keep playing in the margins and putting Band-Aids on it, and that's just failing more efficiently. And we realized we just can't keep affording to do this, so we've got to go through this difficult process of adjusting to this dramatic change. We put up $95 million of city money. People don't fully appreciate $95 million in bonds this city put up to build this public-private partnership. And we're finding federal dollars, state dollars that we otherwise would not have discovered had we not had the courage to put that deal together. And so it's an exciting time at public housing. And no, public housing is not what it should be. And yes, a lot of us should be ashamed that we allowed it to go this long and this far. But that's a national issue as much as it is a state issue and a local issue. But this city is stepping in where the state and federal government have walked away. And Dorothy is going to be a big part of that. And I'm grateful, Dorothy, you said yes. And you put your name into this mix. So thank you. Small business, Steve Adams, a small business advocate. He's got friends here, I see. Steve's just a great guy, and I think all the supervisors know Steve well, and really committed to the Mission District and stepped up in some creative ways, created a little mini community benefits district there, and has always been out front and supporting our Small Business Week and our Small Business Commission, our small business this, our small business that, and has been an informal advisor. And this position, a number of months came up, and we called him, and he said yes on the spot, and it's just taken us months to get you here to the swearing in, but I'm grateful, Steve, for your service. And finally, the Southeast Community Facilities Commission, Brigitte LeBlanc. Brigitte is, again, we've known Brigitte for years, and this commission, again, this great facility, and this is it, then we'll get to swearing in, because I know you guys are hungry. It's almost lunch. Is a wonderful facility, but it is underutilized and needs to be completely reimagined. And we need to re-engage the community to reimagine this facility. And I thought Brigitte would do that work in an appropriate and inclusive manner, and is someone who's well respected out there and can do good things. So that's the lineup. And now for the swearing in. This is rather easy. All you have to do is raise your right hand. You appropriately, if you'd like, is to stand, just because it seems more formal. And what I'll do is I'll say I, and then you'll state your name. We'll go all the way down the line. And then it will end with, and during such time as you hold the position of, and you'll say Small Business Commission, blah, 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 blah. You got it? This is not as hard as it appears. Please raise your right hand. I'll say aye. Please state your name. We'll get through that. Do solemnly swear that I'll support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter, and during such time as I hold the position as a member for the city and county of San Francisco. It's official. Congratulations.